4:23 a.m., the Black Sea, 87 miles south of Crimea. A Russian Kilo-class submarine breaks periscope depth. The commander stares through the eyepiece, horizon clear. But it's not. 14 miles away, USS Porter already knows exactly where she is, has known for 6 hours, already transmitted coordinates. Turkey just sealed the Bosphorus and Dardanelles. No explanation. For 72 hours, the Black Sea just became a closed arena. 6 NATO warships trapped inside. 11 Russian. Nobody leaves. Nobody gets reinforcements. Welcome to Navy Force, where naval power decides the fate of nations. Start with geography. The Black Sea is 168,000 square miles. Sounds spacious. For modern naval warfare, it's an aquarium. Maximum Aegis radar range 250 miles. Range of Russian caliber cruise missiles 1,550 miles. In this space, contact is inevitable. The only question is when that contact happens and who pulls the trigger first. Right now, 17 warships are within 200 miles of each other, the most dangerous concentration of force since the Cold War. USS Porter, Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, displacement 9,200 tons, 96 vertical launch cells, Tomahawks, SM-2 air defense missiles, ASROC anti-submarine rockets, SPY-1D radar sees targets at 250 miles, AN/SQS-53C sonar hears submarines at 40 miles in ideal conditions. But conditions aren't ideal. Thermocline at 200 feet creates an acoustic shadow. The Russian Kilo sits below the thermocline. Practically invisible. They call her Black Hole. Quietest diesel submarine in the world. 73 decibels at cruising speed. Quieter than ocean ambient noise. Question for viewers. What's deadlier in naval combat? A, speed, B, stealth, C, firepower. Drop your answer in the comments, because the next 8 minutes will prove the winner is whoever stays invisible longest. Combat Information Center on USS Porter. Screens glow blue. The sonar officer leans forward. Headphones pressed tight. Listening. The ocean never stays silent. Whales, merchant traffic, fishing trawlers, but he's hunting one specific sound. The sound of a Russian diesel running on batteries? 47 minutes of searching, nothing? The thermocline blocks almost everything. Then the captain makes a call. Drop a sonobuoy. Small cylinder with a microphone falls from an MH-60R helicopter. Deployment depth 1,000 feet below the thermocline. Transmits data by radio. 4 minutes later, contact weak signal. Bearing 187 degrees, range approximately 9 miles. The Kilo moving south. Slow, 4 knots, almost stationary, classic ambush tactics. But the Russians aren't stupid either. Aboard the Kilo, the sonar operator smiles. He heard the sonobuoy splash into the water. Distinctive sound means they found him. Or think they did. Because now the submarine executes a maneuver the Americans don't expect. Full stop, engine cut. The boat hangs motionless in the water, uses the current. Black Sea current runs counterclockwise, 4 inches per second. That's enough. The submarine drifts north silently. Without a single sound, batteries charged to 89%. Can stay silent for another 14 hours. On the surface, a second chess game unfolds. Romanian frigate Regel Ferdinand enters the zone. 2,200 tons flight deck. MU-90 torpedoes coming from the west, coordinating with Porter. Classic hunting technique, drive the prey between 2 fires. Distance between ships 22 miles. The submarine should be somewhere in the middle, should be. But sonar stays quiet, no contacts. That's a bad sign. Very bad. Here on Navy Force, we know one rule of naval warfare. If you can't see the enemy, it doesn't mean he's not there. It means you're already in his crosshairs. Istanbul, Turkish Naval Command. A general stares at the map. Bosphorus closed since 04 Official reason, military exercises. Real reason, a request from Washington. Unofficial, urgent. Lock the Russian fleet in the Black Sea until the situation resolves. What situation? Nobody says directly, but everyone understands. If shooting starts, Turkey stays out. Straits closed to everyone. NATO warships inside on their own. No reinforcements coming. No evacuation possible. Turkey doesn't want to be dragged into conflict. The general lights a cigarette, checks his watch. 68 hours until the straits reopen. A lot can happen in 68 hours. Back to USS Porter. The captain's nervous. Last contact with the submarine was 11 minutes ago. Since then, silence. That's not normal. Submarines make noise, even a little. Engines, pumps, something but nothing. He makes a decision. Active sonar? It's risky. Active sonar screams, "I'm here," to the entire ocean. Unmasks the destroyer. But there's no other choice. The operator presses the button. Powerful pulse shoots into the water. 235 decibels. Sound wave spreads in all directions. 7 seconds later, echo returns. Solid contact, bearing 191 degrees, range 7.4 miles. The submarine's farther south than they thought, much farther. She deceived them. Aboard, the kilo alarm sounds. Everyone heard the active sonar sound like a hammer striking the hull. The commander gives orders. Increase depth. Submarine descends to 600 feet. Turn west. Full speed, 17 knots underwater. Stealth doesn't matter anymore. Speed matters. Distance to destroyer, 7.4 miles. Range of American Mark 54 torpedo, approximately 11 miles. Russian UGST Physic torpedo, 22 miles. Advantage submarine, but only if she shoots first. Commander stares at the screen. Torpedo tube 1 ready. Target data entered. Finger on the firing button. Hold tight, because the next 90 seconds will determine who controls the Black Sea. If you believe naval power is the foundation of security, hit that like button. Navy force shows what others hide. USS Porter maneuvers. Zigzag pattern, 28 knots, creating wake turbulence, air bubbles. False target for incoming torpedoes. Simultaneously, the MH-60R lifts off the deck, carries 2 Mark 54 torpedoes, weight 608 pounds each, speed 45 knots underwater. Active passive guidance system, hard to miss. But dropping a torpedo from helicopter requires close range, maximum 2 miles from target. Helicopter moves to intercept, speed 140 knots, time to drop 0.3 minutes. The Romanian frigate's in the game too. She's south, closer to the submarine. Captain gives the order. Mu-90 torpedoes armed, Italian manufacture, one of NATO's best lightweight torpedoes. Speed 50 knots, warhead 70 pounds, range 7.5 miles. Frigate opens torpedo tubes. 2 barrels point into the water. Target data received from Porter. Waiting for the command, 1 signal, and 2 torpedoes launch. Moment of truth. Who shoots first? Aboard the submarine, the commander checks his watch. 04:37 a.m., dawn in 2 hours, 18 minutes. Darkness is the submarine's ally, but the thermocline disappears at sunrise. Water warms, acoustic shadow vanishes, then the kilo becomes visible, then it's over. He must act now, or dive deeper and wait. Wait for what? Political decision? Orders from Moscow? He doesn't have time. American helicopter approaching, frigate ready to fire. If he waits, they'll sink him, no question. But then something happens nobody expected. New contact from the north. Large surface vessel, speed 22 knots, heading straight into the conflict zone. Transponder shows civilian ship, Liberian flag, tanker, displacement 84,000 tons, route from Novorossiysk to Turkey. Scheduled run, but timing is terrible. She's entering directly between destroyer and submarine. Distance to Porter 4.2 miles, to the kilo 5.8 miles. Captain of USS Porter shouts into radio. Tanker alter course immediately. Military operation in progress. But the tanker doesn't respond, either doesn't hear or pretends not to. Aboard the kilo, the commander understands. The tanker is a shield. Giant metal shield. Americans won't shoot through a civilian vessel. Too risky. Torpedo could miss and strike the tanker. Environmental catastrophe, international scandal. Commander smiles, gives the order. Move under the tanker. Use its acoustic shadow. 84,000 tons of steel create massive noise. Propellers, engines, generators. Submarine under tanker becomes invisible. Brilliant maneuver. Pick your side, viewers. G if you think this is genius. R if you think it's reckless. Comments below, because on Navy Force, your opinion matters. Every comment helps this channel grow. USS Porter is helpless. Tanker between him and target. Helicopter can't drop torpedo, too dangerous. Captain clenches fists. Submarine escaping using tanker as cover. Classic Soviet-era tactics. Hide behind civilian ships, but he doesn't give up. Orders helicopter to circle tanker. Come from the other side. Takes 4 minutes. Maybe submarine still in zone. Helicopter gains altitude. Banks hard, flies wide arc. Romanian frigate maneuvers too, heading west, trying to flank the tanker, but tanker also changes course. Slightly, just enough to stay between warships and submarine. Someone on that tanker's bridge knows what they're doing. This isn't coincidence. This is coordination. Maybe the tanker captain received instructions. Maybe there's someone else aboard. Someone directing the vessel, someone from GRU or FSB, or just an experienced sailor who understands the situation and helps his own. 6 minutes pass, helicopter circles tanker, sonobuoys deployed, active search, but no contact. The Kilo vanished. Either went to bottom, or slipped north under acoustic cover of the tanker, or entered Crimean territorial waters. Where Americans can't follow, international law, captain of Porter slams fist on table. Lost her. Submarine won this round. But the game's not over. 320 miles east, carrier USS Harry S. Truman sits in the eastern Mediterranean, carries 68 aircraft, FA-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers, E-2D Hawkeyes, strike group of 6 ships, cruiser, 2 destroyers, Virginia-class submarine, frigate, supply ship. Admiral receives report about Black Sea situation, submarine escaped, NATO ships trapped, straits closed. He studies the map, options limited, but one exists. If Turkey doesn't open the straits, carrier group enters Black Sea another way, through Dardanelles by force. That means conflict with Turkey, NATO ally, absurd, but Admiral prepares for any scenario. Moscow, Ministry of Defense, Euro 7:15 Moscow time. A general reads the briefing. Kilo avoided contact, used civilian vessel as cover, NATO ships disoriented. Bosphorus sealed, situation under control. He nods, issues orders. 2 more Kilo-class submarines deploy from Novorossiysk. Will join the first within 12 hours. Now 3 submarines against 6 NATO surface ships. The balance shifts. But Washington sees the same data. Pentagon War Room, 11:47 p.m. East Coast time, screens show Black Sea in real time. Satellite feeds, radio intercepts. Admiral briefs the Joint Chiefs. 1 Kilo confirmed, 2 more probable. Turkish straits closed for 66 more hours. NATO ships can't leave, can't be reinforced. Options discussed. Send P-8 Poseidon submarine hunters from Italy. Range 1,180 miles. Flight time 2 hours, but they can't enter Turkish airspace without permission, and Turkey isn't answering calls. Alternative plan. Virginia-class submarine currently in Mediterranean transits underwater into Black Sea. Through the Bosphorus underwater, technically violates Turkish sovereignty, but submarines don't follow surface rules. The Montreux Convention doesn't explicitly forbid submarine transit. Gray area, risky, could work. Admiral picks up secure phone, makes the call. Back on USS Porter, dawn breaks, 06:41 a.m. First light touches the water, thermocline begins to destabilize, water temperature equalizes, acoustic shadow weakens, submarine hunting gets easier, but now there are 3 submarines out there. Maybe more. Porter can't hunt them all. Romanian frigate can help, but 2 hunters against multiple submarines. Bad odds. Captain makes decision, go defensive, form protective circle around the tanker lanes, keep civilian shipping safe, let the submarines come to him. Classic escort tactics. But this isn't convoy duty, this is a standoff. Nobody's sure what the rules are. Rules of engagement say defend yourself if attacked, but what if attacked means a torpedo is already in the water? By then it's too late, so do they fire on suspected contacts? Do they depth charge based on probability? Nobody wants to start World War III over a sonar ghost? At 8:14 a.m., new development. Commercial satellite imagery shows Russian Surface Action Group leaving Sevastopol. 3 frigates, 2 corvettes, 1 Slava-class cruiser. Displacement 11,490 tons, 16 P-1000 Vulcan anti-ship missiles. Each missile carries a 2,200-pound warhead. Range 430 miles, they're not leaving port for exercises. They're joining the game. ETA to NATO ships approximately 4 hours. On Navy Force, we track every move, every ship, every missile, because naval dominance isn't about size, it's about positioning, it's about information, it's about knowing where your enemy is before he knows where you are. Subscribe to Navy Force if you believe America must control the seas. Every subscription supports our mission to expose naval threats the mainstream media ignores. The question now isn't if shooting starts. The question is who shoots first and what happens after. Because here's what most people don't understand. In the Black Sea, there's nowhere to run, no open ocean to escape into. It's 750 miles from east to west, 380 miles north to south. Maximum depth, 7,257 feet. Ships and submarines packed into this space can't avoid each other, can't de-escalate by creating distance. Every movement brings contact closer. USS Porter's executive officer runs calculations. Current fuel, 78%. Can operate at combat speed for another 6 days. After that, needs refueling. But there's no tanker in the Black Sea. Nearest supply ship is in Mediterranean, on wrong side of closed straits. Same problem for all NATO ships. They have 6 days of operational fuel, then they become floating targets. Russians know this, they're counting on it, waiting for NATO ships to run low on fuel, then strike. But American submarines don't have that problem. Virginia-class can operate for 33 years without refueling. Nuclear power, and she's coming. Transiting Bosphorus underwater right now. Depth 400 feet. Silent running. Turkish sensors might detect her. Might not. She's the quietest submarine ever built. 95 decibels. Quieter than background ocean noise at speed, she carries 38 weapons, mix of Tomahawk cruise missiles and Mark 48 torpedoes. Mark 48 range 30 miles, speed 55 knots. Wire-guided, can't be spoofed, can't be evaded. When Virginia arrives, the equation changes. Russian commanders know this too, which is why they're moving now, before Virginia enters the Black Sea, before American submarine hunting capability triples. Time is critical, window closing. At 09:33 a.m., Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich launches helicopter, Ka-27 Helix, anti-submarine configuration, dipping sonar, torpedoes, hunting for USS Porter, distance 47 miles closing. Porter's radar picks up the helicopter. Captain makes call. Launch own helicopter, MH-60R Romeo. Weapons load 2 Mark 54 torpedoes, sonobuoys, air-to-air capability just in case. Helicopter lifts off, banks toward Russian contact. This is it. First air contact between forces. Rules of engagement say if Russian helicopter attacks, Porter can defend. But what if Russian helicopter just searches? What if it doesn't fire but marks Porter's position for submarines? Is that hostile act? Gray area again. Both helicopters now in the air, 28 miles apart. Closing at combined speed 240 knots, 7 minutes to visual contact, pilots on both sides checking weapons status, sweating despite cold. Neither wants to start this, but neither will back down. Pride, duty, orders. On Navy Force, we understand what most people don't. Wars start not with invasions. Wars start with decisions made in seconds. By individuals under pressure, who have to guess what their enemy will do next. At 09:41 a.m., Romanian frigate's radar officer shouts, "Missile launch detected, bearing 082 degrees, range 68 miles, single contact, subsonic speed heading west, toward NATO ships." This is it. Real missiles in the air. Captain hits alarm, all hands to battle stations, target the inbound. 2 SM-2 missiles ripple fire from vertical launch cells, contrails arc into the sky, smoke drifts across deck. Seconds later, USS Porter launches 2 more SM-2s, 4 interceptors racing toward 1 inbound missile. Overkill maybe, but nobody takes chances. Inbound missile designated Track 471, speed Mach 0.9, altitude 450 feet. Sea skimming profile, radar cross-section small. But SM-2 is designed for this. Active radar homing, fire and forget. First SM-2 reaches intercept point, proximity fuse detonates, 287 pounds of high explosive. Shrapnel cloud 200 feet wide. Track 471 disappears from radar. Direct hit, debris falls into the sea, threat eliminated. But that was just one missile. Where are the others? Because Russian doctrine doesn't launch one missile. Russian doctrine launches salvos. 12 missiles, 16 missiles, overwhelmed defenses. But radar shows only one launch. Why? Maybe it was test, probe defenses, see how NATO responds, see how fast they react, how many interceptors they waste. Classic reconnaissance by fire, or maybe it was warning shot. Message that says we can hit you whenever we want, or maybe it was accident, finger slip, training gone wrong, nobody knows. Question for viewers, was that Russian missile? A. Test probe B. Warning shot C. Accident? Answer at the end. Stay with me because the next twist changes everything. At 09:58 a.m., underwater contact, USS Porter's sonar operator locks passive track bearing 214 degrees, range 11.2 miles, contact classified submarine, diesel signature, Kilo class probable, but which one, the original or one of the 2 new arrivals? Doesn't matter, it's close, too close. Within torpedo range, captain's decision. Drop active sonobuoy, confirm position, but active sonar alerts the submarine, makes her dive. Disappear or stay passive. Hope submarine doesn't know she's detected, hope she stays shallow. Second option is gamble, big gamble. Captain chooses passive, orders torpedo tubes flooded, Mark 54 ready, waiting. If submarine launches first, Porter launches second, mutual destruction maybe, but that's deterrence, that's the game. Meanwhile, Romanian frigate maneuvers to flank position, creates crossfire, submarine trapped between 2 ships. But submarines don't trap easy. They go deep, they go silent, they wait. Patience is submarine weapon, same as torpedoes. At 10:14 a.m., third player enters. Virginia-class submarine USS New Mexico clears Bosphorus, successfully transited underwater. Turkey either didn't detect or didn't care. Now she's in the Black Sea, depth 5 or 50 feet, silent running, heading east at 12 knots, sonar sweep active, hunting for Russian submarines, 3 kilos out there. New Mexico can engage all 3 simultaneously, carries 12 torpedoes, plus 26 Tomahawk cruise missiles. If ordered, she can strike land targets. Russian naval bases, command centers, airfields, range 1,000 miles, every target in region within reach. Moscow receives intelligence. American Virginia class confirmed in Black Sea. General Staff meets emergency session. Options discussed. Escalate or de-escalate more submarines, more surface ships, or propose ceasefire? Contact Washington through back channels? Problem is nobody's sure what this standoff is about. What's the objective? Control sea lanes? Demonstrate resolve? Test NATO response? Sometimes military operations develop their own momentum, start as one thing, become another, spiral beyond original intent. At 11:02 a.m., diplomatic breakthrough. Turkey announces straits will reopen not in 66 hours, now immediately. Reason given humanitarian concerns. True reason classified phone call from president to Turkish leadership, details unknown. But result clear, NATO ships can leave, Russian ships can leave, submarine hunt can end, standoff resolves, for now. USS Porter receives orders, transit Bosphorus, return to Mediterranean. Captain exhales, crew relaxes, tension drains, but submarine contact still there, 11.2 miles away, still tracking. Porter can't leave until submarine clears, can't transit straight with hostile submarine nearby, too risky, narrow waters, no room to maneuver, perfect ambush point. So Porter waits, submarine waits, Mexican standoff continues. At 11:47 a.m., submarine surfaces, 8.3 miles from Porter, black hull breaks surface, water streams off sides, conning tower emerges. Russian naval ensign flies. She's declaring identity, non-hostile act, Porter acknowledges. Tension drops another notch. Submarine submerges again, turns east, heading home. Porter waits 20 minutes, then turns west, heading for Bosphorus. Speed 18 knots, 2 hours to strait entrance. By 14:00, Porter clears Turkish waters, re-enters Mediterranean, mission complete. No shots fired, no casualties, no war. But what did we learn? On Navy Force, we analyze every detail, every decision, every outcome. Here's what matters. First, submarines are ultimate sea denial weapons. 1 kilo tied up 6 NATO ships for 12 hours. Cost Russia maybe $300 million to build that submarine. Cost NATO 6 ships, thousands of man-hours, and millions in fuel. Asymmetric advantage submarine. Second, geography matters. Black Seas, confined space, forced confrontation. In open ocean ships, avoid contact. Enclosed sea contact inevitable. Third, information dominance wins. Side with better sensors, better communication, better intelligence controls the fight. Porter had Aegis, had satellite coverage, had AWACS support from Turkey. Kilo had stealth and patience, different strategies, both effective. Fourth, political will matters more than firepower. Turkey closed straits, then opened them. That decision shaped entire encounter. More powerful than any weapon system. Fifth, rules of engagement matter. Porter could have depth-charged suspected contact. Didn't. Chose restraint. That prevented escalation. Professional discipline saved lives, maybe saved world from larger conflict. Final lesson, naval power isn't about size, it's about presence. It's about showing up, staying on station, demonstrating resolve. Porter didn't fire shot, didn't need to. Her presence was message. Message that says NATO protects these waters. Message that says attack one, attack all. Message received, understood. That's why submarine surfaced. That's why standoff ended peacefully. Now back to quiz. Was Russian missile test probe warning shot or accident? Answer is A, test probe. According to declassified intelligence reports, Russia frequently tests NATO air defense response times. Single missile launches measure reaction speed, number of interceptors deployed, radar emissions, electronic signatures, all valuable intelligence. Not warning shot, because warning shots come with diplomatic messages. Not accident, because accidents don't happen on schedule during standoffs. Professional military testing, professional military. Both sides gather data, both sides learn, both sides prepare for next time. Here's what mainstream media won't tell you. This wasn't an isolated incident. This happens 40 times per year. Submarines shadow surface ships. Jets intercept bombers. Ships play chicken in narrow straits. Most incidents never make news, never get reported, but Navy Force tracks everyone. And because we believe American citizens deserve to know what's happening on the seas that protect them, seas that enable $22 trillion in global trade, seas that separate peace from war. Peace belongs to those who control the waters. To Russia, China, Iran, and anyone watching, America's commitment to freedom of navigation is non-negotiable. Our ships will sail where international law allows. Our submarines will patrol where American interests demand. Our sailors will defend our values and our allies. That's not threat, that's promise, that's reality. Subscribe to Navy Force if you believe naval power protects freedom. Like this video if you support American sailors. Comment below and answer these questions. Was Porter's captain right to show restraint? Should NATO have more submarines in the Black Sea? What would you have done in that situation? Your comments spark discussions that reach thousands. Help us build the strongest naval-focused community on YouTube. Next threat is already forming. Next submarine already deployed. Next standoff already brewing. Stay alert, stay informed, stay with Navy Force, because the next crisis won't wait for permission, and neither will we.